Welcome, everybody. It's the Historic Preservation Advisory Committee meeting, September 19th, 2022. We do have a quorum. I call this meeting to order. First thing, we need to approve the minutes. To have a motion to approve the minutes.
I motion to approve the minutes.
Got a motion, second?
I'll second.
Everybody say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? We moving into business recap of historic preservation booth at Old Timers Day.
Yeah, we'll turn this over to you guys. I know there was a booth there located under the city tent. Historical preservation memorabilia was picked up from the Parks office on Friday. So yeah, we'll turn that over to Ms. Rhonda if she wants to speak on that.
We had some good response. People that were coming by they loved looking through the old photo albums and things. A lot of people actually said thank you for setting this up because it was good to reminisce through some of those things. People found their old family members and pictures, and it kind of made it exciting for them. I worked a little bit with Donna with the library, and she sent people my way, I sent people her way, so we kind of coordinated on that. A lot of people didn't know that we had a sister city, and I had some of the things out for that, so that brought a lot of interest too. I met with Andy Cheney, Shirley Cheney's son, and he gave me a lot of information to help move forward with the little project that I got going for the street names. So it was pretty interesting.
I stopped by the tent and actually found a picture of my grandfather from 1983.
Did you know that was, were you looking for that? Did you know it was
I
your
was-
grandfather or?
No, yeah, I knew it was my grandfather as soon as I saw him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, there was no name on the picture, but I
Right.
knew it was him. It was, it was a decent picture of him. But I knew he used to play music at the Old Timers Festival and stuff like that.
I'm not sure when, and Dennis, you may know this, like the sister city, when did all that kind of phase out? They got big in the mid-'80s, maybe?
No, what'd you say about phasing out?
You know, at one time, they would send people over here, almost like exchange students, and the citizens here in Laverne would house those for a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah, it kind of phased out. I think it went on into the 90s. It was the kids from France would come over and spend a week, and then Laverne kids would come over to France a week. I think during Shirley Winfrey and Mike Webb administrations when it phased out. I don't think when Sherry was mayor, I don't recall they doing it then. So it probably phased out around the early 90s.
Was there just interest lost in that, or do you?
Well, yeah, kind of. It kind of just phased out a little bit. They done it for quite a few years. I think they started it in the 70s. I think Jack Moore and A.C. Puckett and Vester Waldron and Hyman Cheney. Shirley Cheney. Had that book, and they kind of coordinated it. Pretty good. All that kind of was really done. Back then I wasn't really involved in the city back then as much, but it was pretty popular. I know when the kids come over here from France, they'd take them to Opryland, and that was kind of an enjoyment. And then they went over France and done things.
Speaking of Miss Cheney, several people asked me if there was a way to buy the book that she wrote. Is that something that there are copies of, or?
The Green Trees book? Mm-hmm. I think the library may have some copies. I think we have, we've probably got 5 or 6 at the shop that,
If I ain't mistaken, I think Donna said that she had some at the library.
and I'm not, I mean.
Are they for purchase?
Well, I think we could
I
just
think
hand them
so.
out. I don't know if she sells them, or But we've got, I know 5 copies that, we'll give them first come, first served.
Okay.
Anybody else, on the Old Timers Day? I know the weather was super good that day.
Was.
Usually if the weather's good, it brings out a good crowd.
Yeah, we were due for a good one.
Yeah.
Struggled the last several years with the weather, hit or miss, so.
Well, I told them if they would move it from the second, Saturday, 'cause it always rains on the second Saturday, they'd have a good day. So somebody listened.
Yeah, well, the week of Old Timers Day, we don't look at the weather forecast. We just come in and go
Cross
to
your
work.
fingers
That's
and
right.
pray.
Yep.
The reason I say that, the Saturday after Labor Day is always a red boiling spring car show. And it always, if it don't rain on Saturday, it rains on Friday night. And, I don't know what about the Saturday after Labor Day, it's just a bad deal there. But y'all had beautiful weather. You couldn't ask no better weather.
I'll tell you, those kids love the hats, cowboy hats and tiaras. Those went over so well. Oh, they went quickly. And then the adults loved the koozie drink holders. They would come and get handfuls of them. I've seen a lot of senior citizens wearing the tiaras as well.
One thing I like to bring up is ask the members, what do y'all want this committee to go? What things y'all want to focus on? And last meeting, something brought up about the streets. It's a lot of history in Laverne. And, we, over the years, we've tapped into a little bit of it, but it's still a lot of history of Laverne out there that, especially the newer people that's moved in the last 10, 15 years are not aware of.
A lot of people were sharing information with me as they were looking through. Oh, I remember this, and oh, that house over there, and the church over there, and my parents lived here, and it was interesting. I didn't know a whole lot of things that they were talking about, and they're telling me where this and that and whose family it was. I got a better idea of some of the people who were founding families in Laverne. And they were all super excited to share, so it was quite interesting.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing the street names and everything like that. I think we should start focusing on, historic places and houses and things like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Before some of that's lost.
Several people mentioned the log cabin, wanting to know what we were going to do with it. I said, right now, just protect it and keep it.
Well, I think the log cabin's gone.
Log's cabin's gone.
Gone.
Oh, where's it go?
They auctioned it off. Somebody bought it, but it was in pretty bad shape. And we couldn't. Years ago, we tried to get a grant on it, and because we moved it, that messed us up on some grants. It was.
We even talked about making kind of like a history thing out of it, to where you could go in and
Yeah.
fix it up and see the history of Laverne. And
That old house they just tore down on the old National Highway. Now that house is pretty old. That's the old Gamble house. Now I know that house goes back to the 20s. It could go back. I was wanting to be over there when they tore it down, but I wasn't there when they tore it down. I was thinking it might have been when they tore the white wood off of it. It might have been a log house, but looking at the rubble, I didn't see no logs there.
well, I was kind of sad that went too, so I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I mean, because we've spent a lot of time in there, just with Box 100, with our Christmas parties,
Yeah.
with election days. It was just a lot of history in that building.
See, I remember when I was a kid, that house you're talking about that got tore down, back in the mid-70s, late 70s, it didn't even look like it was livable then. So, it has been rehabbed several times.
Yeah.
So I think you know, if there's something you guys want to look forward to, or you want us to kind of research if we can, you know, we're probably like one generation away from losing all the history we have here.
Yeah,
We are.
Right.
The people I grew up with, if any of their parents are still around, there's only a handful of them left. And then, like my children, they wouldn't care about the history of Laverne. So you've got that small window there. If you're going to, you know, capitalize on something, now's the time to do it.
But the thing is, then you gotta figure out how you're gonna reserve it, you know?
Right?
Yeah, it can be reserved in the library, but how are you gonna put it on paper or whatever and reserve it for people that do? Because we have kids these days that don't even want our grandmother's dishes. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, and it's kind of sad. But it's kind of like coming up with a way to reserve it. So there is people out there, there's going to be more people that come here, it's going to love Laverne as much as I do, that wants to know as much as they possibly do about Laverne. You know, all the way back to the tornadoes and the Trail of Tears, and, you know, how many times this city has been rebuilt because of tornadoes, and, you know, because I think it's what, twice? I think it's like twice it's been rebuilt because of tornadoes. And it's just, I guess it's just scattered out. And just
Yeah, and I think like you were talking about researching street names, I think in the older sections of Laverne, you're gonna have that history there, not so much in your newer sections, because in your newer sections, if I'm understanding things right, like there's a new subdivision come up and I wanted a street named David Street, I would submit my name, and then that's there, like.
Sorry.
I grew up on
Sorry about
Aiken
that.
Street, exactly. I grew up on Aiken Street, and my understanding, that was part of the old Aiken Farm. So that history, you know, prior to houses built mid-seventies and before, on certain streets, I think that's where you're gonna get the majority of your information from.
Yeah, I mean, because you got Billy Eller, which you used to own Merchandise Liquidators, and, you know, you got Ricky McCormick, Ronnie Irwin Street. Dennis, you got a street?
No, no,
Well, dang it. Thought you didn't have a street by now.
no, no.
it's coming.
It's coming.
Laverne was changed a lot when Percy Priest Lake came in, and then when I-24 come in. And it came in about the same time. They filled Percy Priest Lake up in '68. We lived on the bank of Stones River, and the Corps got our property, and I watched it in '68. It gradually filled up. You know, I could see our old farm and the foundation of the house. In 3 weeks after that, I couldn't see it. The water was over it. Same thing with I-24. A lot of the streets over there was changed. Walden Road was changed when the interstate come in. It used to be Rock Springs Road. They changed it to Walden Road. Blair Road that runs off of Walden Road, that used to be P.B. Nelson Road up until Smyrna, and then when you got in the city of Smyrna, it changed to Blair Road. So a lot of streets was changed and was done away with. Cheney Road used to be Sanford Road, you know, coming off the old National Highway. You know, a lot of the streets was changed or rerouted, same as Percy Priest Lake. But, yeah, I just tap into y'all to see what we need to focus on for the next meeting. You know, what do y'all want? What direction y'all want to go in?
Well, as far as for the streets, the Vestern Waldron's family has offered to give me a lot of information on
Yeah.
streets.
Yeah, David, he ought to have a lot of stuff on the streets, but most of your streets, like before '72, the streets was named after wherever the street went. If the street went to Stones River, they named it Stones River. If it went to the Mason Farm, they called it Mason Road. You know, Fergus Road, you know. But then when Lake Forest come in the '90s, you know, they started naming them roads after city employees,
Family
city
members.
board members, somebody might have been on the, boards that, you know, the, planning commission, stuff like that.
Like Davis Way was named after Shirley Winfrey's son. Because he was murdered,
But,
the way I understand it.
A lot of people have offered to send me pictures and a lot of information, like Miss Frida, she sent me information about her grandson that died when he was 5 months old. Street was named after him. Lance King. Of course, I knew Rick McCormick for many years, and Ronnie Irwin. So some of those I know from personal experience. Some of them, Andy Cheney said that he would love to sit down with me and add what knowledge he had. So different people. I think the senior citizens would be a good resource to get a lot of that information.
Probably, well, there's not that many, I guess Laverne citizens that go down to the center that much. Some of them is mostly Smyrna. But the ones that do go down there, probably don't remember that much anymore.
I know out there by Carruthers Road, the Davidson County, Williamson County, and Rutherford County line, I think it was moved 2 or 3 times. You know, the boundaries was.
I mean, I even heard we still have some of Laverne on the other side of the lake. So,
Well, the
it flood all of what it needed to be flooded and.
used to the Stones River and Hurricane Creek was the border. So you know where Four Corners is, that's Hurricane Creek goes there, and you can still see the Stones River under the lake. You know, it goes to that point. Now, some of the islands out there still could be in Rutherford County. You know, and if it's close to Laverne, it used to be Laverne, but now back then Laverne wasn't incorporated. It was the county. You know, before '72. So.
That was before my time.
So if y'all can kind of be coming up with some ideas, direction y'all want us to focus on.
There's not many things you can do about history, but, you know, coming up with better things other than just history that we could do to help in some way. And like I said, I mean, history is history, but there's only so much you can do.
Well, I know like a lot of historical communities in Davidson County and even in Murfreesboro, they'll, especially the older homes, they do a Christmas open house tour. And that might be something that we might be to look into, at least what we could do with that. And that would get people into these homes. I know a lot of people love to show off their older homes.
Yeah, and then there are some don't even come knocking unless you call first.
Probably the oldest house that I can think of in Laverne that's still standing would be Donnie Ferguson's mother's house on down there. I know it predates the Civil War.
Yeah.
A lot of the other houses through there, when the 2 tornadoes come through there, it tore a lot of them down, and then fires got a lot of them. The old, you know, the depot, it was tore down when the co-op come in. That little old building there, right past the underpass there, the little small building. Now that used to be a gas station. I think that goes back to the late 20s. That's pretty old. The old Methodist.
The original part of Laverne, where did it start? Was it Old Nashville Highway?
The old part of Laverne was right there by the underpass.
Okay.
And then when when they put the new 4-lane in, everything moved to the four-lane highway. They had a road a two-lane road that went from about there where Taco Bell, it went straight to the air base. And that's as far as it went. Used to, before that, you had to go on National Highway Jefferson Pike to go to the air base. They come out and put a road from about where Taco Bell is, and it went all the way to, and it didn't go to Smyrna, it went to the air base. You had to go through the air base and then come back through.
I know whenever we have the air show that live off of Fergus Road, and people come out that way. So I know it comes through that direction somehow.
But they, in 1960 is when they four-laned Murfreesboro Road from Nashville to Murfreesboro. The reason I remember it so well, I was born in 1960, but my mother's aunt had a restaurant down in Una. I don't know if you know where Una is, but when they four-laned the Murfreesboro Road and cut it through the rock cliffs, that put her out of business because that took the traffic away. And it was 1960 when they opened it up, because that's when she just about had to close her restaurant up. But before 1960, it was a two-lane road from probably from the Nashville to Murfreesboro. So if y'all can just kind of write some stuff down and we present it at the next meeting, we'll have something to work on. One thing I've been aiming to do and is go over to the Corps over there on Stewart's Ferry Pike and go in that building, and they got a lot of photographs, aerial photographs, a lot of photographs of stuff before the lake come in, before they tore it down. I'm gonna try to get over there and get some copies of some of them pictures, because it's a lot of, they got a lot of stuff over there, especially aerial photographs. And that's one thing I'm gonna try to work on. I say the next meeting will be held March 2nd of 2023 at 7 o'clock. So we got a little time. We got winter time coming up, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and that's always a difficult time to plan an event. So March will put us about right. So that gives plenty of time to think of the direction we want this committee to go next year. I guess we're down to board member comments. I'll start with you.
I don't have anything to add.
Tony?
Thank you for manning the tent on Saturday.
It was my pleasure. I enjoyed it. I got to see a lot of people. It was a good event. Weather was good. I was at a good location because I got to watch everything. I got to see the big snakes and then get next to them.
They, in the past when we had a booth there, people would always come up and they wasn't bashful about telling you their family or they used to live here. You get a good schooling,
Yes.
they'll tell you what they know.
hours. Yes, I learned about the Grand Marshal, the family who did the Grand Marshal in their old car for many years, and the Cheneys were full of information. People love to see the things that showed the process of the library being built. Those were some of the pictures that were in there and what it looked like before. So, yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Only thing I regret when I was younger, a lot of these older people were still alive, and they was always happy to talk to you. I wished I'd have recorded some of them, and I still remember a lot of what they say, but, you know, a lot of it I forgot. But that was a lot of good information that we've lost over the last 20 or 30 years. With that being said, I'll adjourn this meeting.